Hello, freaky friends. It's just me, your friendly neighborhood horror writer, Tia. Today I'm going to tell you how I made my book trailer for Next to Nothing. But first, let's take a look at the finished product uninterrupted, and then I'll walk you through the process. What did you think? I made that for under $30, and it has got the job done. Now, what is the job I wanted it to do? For me, it was to make clear the feel and the vibe of my book. It was not about a literal scene, but it did come very close. It was inspired by a scene in the book, and then we just kind of fudged it a little bit to what we had available. One of the main reasons I made a book trailer is I had a lot of folks make the wrong assumption of what genre type of book I was writing, mostly because I was a woman. They assumed dark romance or a very fantasy feel. And it really led to the first steps of branding for me to understand what my brand is. So the vibe was very important to me. I also wanted something that I could point to for promos, for background use at book signings and sales, and just generally to have something out there pertaining to my book. It was originally released before my book release. So it was to get people talking. It was to get people's attention. And after that, it's just been really good for sending people that were wondering what my book was about, wondering what I was about, and just good for background sound or background use at book signings or me talking on a panel or something like that. Will you make a bunch of sales off your book trailer? Probably not. What do you need to make this happen? 1, a camera. I happen to use a 15-year-old Nikon, but you can use the camera on your phone, which would be probably better quality than what I was working with originally. But the 15-year-old camera definitely had that grainy, unpolished look that I was going for, so its age actually worked in my favor. 2, video editing software. There are tons of free editing software out there. I ended up using Windows Movie Maker for this particular trailer. Very intuitive, very point and click. 3, you need a simple idea. You're a writer. You can do this. Well, maybe not. It was very hard to kind of pare down an idea. I want you to pick your favorite scene that doesn't give away the plot, but gives away the feel. what scene in your book encompasses what your feel is. If you're doing this for nonfiction, again, a general overall, what is your goal? What is your feeling that you're trying to invoke in your reader? Number 4, outside the box. And you're going to have to figure out how to use and implement anything that is within arm's length. And things are going to happen. Fuck-ups are bound to happen, and you have to be able to think on the fly and make up for it. Adapt to your situation and your needs. Number 5, see what you have available to you. What is your strengths? I know I didn't have the money, but I did have time. I didn't have fancy equipment, but I did have creative friends. So I'm going to go over the basics of my book trailer, where I was coming from, what I was starting with. I knew I wanted a scene that was an embodiment of my main character, Lydia, being captured by the Hounds of Heaven and her struggle to escape. The dagger was not necessarily in the scene in the book, but it represents her magic in the book. I asked if any of my friends had a creepy, unfinished basement and if they were willing to put up with me and my small crew. Luckily, I had a wonderful person that decided to say yes. I knew I needed a cameraman, a makeup person, and an assistant. I chose my friend Ashes to be my makeup because she was familiar with glamour makeup. And I had experience with FX makeup, and she took no time at all to learn the FX techniques. We actually took a night before the shoot, and I kind of ran over the basics and gave her my FX makeup, and she picked it up like that. I chose my friend Cash as my cameraman because I knew I was going to be tied up. He was a local artist, and he had a professional attitude. I could explain what I wanted, and he understood, and I could trust his eye and let him go off book. And he was able to give me ideas that I might have not thought of, and we were able to communicate in basically artist speak to each other, and we got where we were wanting to go. My assistant was Shadron. He is my SO, my significant other, and I just kind of pulled him in whether he liked it or not. He has been with me in creative shoots and films over the years, so he knows what my vibe is, what my goals are. He knows to look for anything that might concern me later, because again, I was going to be very busy in the middle of the shoot. He has the ability of kind of eyeballing everything and bringing my attention to something that he knows that I wouldn't be cool with. And he also has a great eye for detail and really good with lighting. Like, the man is a genius when it comes to lighting. And that's actually where most of the money that we spent went to, was the lighting situation with the particular light bulbs and also just wiring this unfinished basement in a correct way. So that's where the bulk of the money went. Andrew was our host with most. He had this creepy basement, and it ended up being perfect for what I needed. He is also an awesome creative, and his ideas and inputs really helped with the scene as well. Things and shots that might have worked differently from a different point of view, he was right on top of it. He also did a great job being the documentarian of the trailer. So I want to give a huge shout out to my friends Ashes, Cash, Andrew, and of course Shadron for being there for me and giving up a Saturday. Me, I was to be the actor since I could not pay anyone and my main character has hair like mine. I chose my main character to have hair like mine because of some of the prejudices that I've experienced growing up and religious superstition. And finding a natural redhead with curly hair is kind of difficult, and I don't have that kind of money. I would happily have to top from the bottom. I would direct from my shackles. What you don't see is that basement was very short. So as Cash came up with the camera, I had to lower myself in time to give a sense of a taller space and Lydia hanging. We were all kind of hunched over. And so as I was hanging, I would pull up on my toes, so when the camera came up, it looked like I was on my tippy toes. And as he lifted up, I would lower my knees, and then we would go up to where my arms were chained up and give that false perception of a very tall space. Again, having the right people make all the difference. And I'm sure you can tell that the stunning makeup job that Ashes did, it really looked and felt like realistic wounds. She picked that up so quick again. And she always also, she brought a lot of fun energy to the project. The old camera actually turned out to be perfect for that grunge and gritty look. So if you had done it with a new camera, like your camera phone or everything, you can always do that in post. Nowadays, there are plenty of free video editing apps that have that gritty filter. I just got in luck with using my mom's old Nikon from the 90s or wherever. I didn't want my face to show too much in this because, again, I have my face on the front of my book on the first edition, and it kind of makes me uncomfortable. And having my face in the video really made me uncomfortable because I want it to be about the character and not about me. The only thing really similar in my head between me and my main character was we both have red curly hair and boobs. That's pretty much the only similarity in my head and how she looks and how I look. But again, I could not afford an actor. And while we were there, I made sure I wasn't locked into my vision. I used the atmosphere of the basement. It had a creepy knob and a door, and we decided to use it. This was not initially an idea that I had, but Cash and Shadron and we're kind of thinking about that idea. And, they pitched it to me. And I know Cash definitely, pitched some of the angles and the shadows. And, part of being a good creative and a good leader is learning to listen to good ideas and to get your ego out of the way. Because sometimes you just can't see the forest for the trees. So I believe the doorknob and him opening up the door and doing that creepy walk, those are Cash's big boots coming down. And he just had that weight, and he's a big guy, so it had that intimidating vibe that I was definitely wanting to go for. I actually filmed this part of the video. So Cash is standing in for the witch hunter. He had the right menace, and which gave the right menace and tension to the book trailer. Of course, I did credits and ended with my tagline, "May the night protect you as you protect the night," a quote from The Lesser Devil, which is what this trailer is for. What I did right, I think I nailed the mood and the vibe. I told an engaging story and made a hook for curiosity. Most of the time, what I hear is people are like, "Oh, so this is what your book's about." And they aren't misled into what my book is. I have this problem with movie trailers and book trailers. A lot of times I feel like I'm being lied to because once I go to, consume their art, it is something completely different that I was not ready for. And that kind of makes me not like the movie, even if it's good. I went in with different perceptions. So I wanted to be very honest about the feel and what my universe for Keenan Chronicles is. If I don't want somebody reading that book and be offended by it, by what its context is, I want my fans to know what they're getting into. What I fucked up. Well, I've learned a lot over the past 4 or 5 years since I did this book trailer. One, something that I wouldn't have known then, but I know now, especially with social media as it is, 1 minute is the optimum time. So I would definitely cut down the credits. And part of the credit situation was also about the music. I purchased that, or not purchased that music. It's free music with a shout out. Like, you have to tell people, if you see in the credits, you'll see Purple Planet. You'll see a credit where I got the music, what the name of the music is, and whose music it is. And I have to admit, now that I know that I have to get it down to 1 minute, I don't have time for credits. So what I would do is definitely find a piece of music that doesn't need attribution. So the next time, I would definitely go that route. And I may end up doing that. Even though I find this is the perfect piece of music, I may find a better one that I don't have to waste time giving credit to. I do think I missed out on maybe doing something a little more supernatural with my trailer, because it does kind of miss out on the more paranormal aspects of my book. I do have vampires, werewolves, and demons in my book. I understand why I skipped it the first time, because I just didn't have the special effects makeup I needed. I didn't have the movie editing software, and I also didn't have the knowledge on how to do that. Now, if I was to redo this trailer now, I'd probably definitely put more paranormal emphasis in the trailer to kind of give a more rounded idea of my book. This by far was one of my favorite projects to work on, and mostly it was because I chose the right people to work with that understand my vision and understood what I needed from them. Be sure to give your crew simple and explicit direction. If you're confused, then they're going to be 10 times more confused. Everything that you feel is amplified by 10 times with your crew. Trust your crew and let them play and let them have ideas with your definition of branding and goals. Limitations may be like money or setting, but let them play. They are not stuck in your box, and they may bring something amazing to the project. Don't get wrapped up in yourself. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and the notification bell and subscribe. And feel free to share. Any questions or comments, put them down below. I talk about my self-published writing journey, witchery, travel, life, and whatever else strikes my fancy. Still curious? Find me on social media and my books on Amazon at Tia M. Grubb. Till next time. May the night protect you as you protect the night.